The destruction in Los Angeles County is bringing back bad memories for Boulder County residents. It's only been just over 3 years since the Marshal Fire swept through that county, leaving a path of destruction. 9 News weather impact team meteorologist Bianchi compares the two fires and the conditions that led to the devastation.
With the ongoing devastation that we're seeing across Southern California, I did want to compare and contrast a little bit between the Marshal Fire and what we're seeing across Southern California. And while numbers can certainly give us some context, they do not tell the emotional and individual stories. I do not want to mitigate or make any sort of direct comparisons on an emotional level with what we're talking about here. But it is worth noting when we're talking about the Marshal Fire that a little over 6,000 acres were burnt by that. A little over 1,000 homes were burnt in the Marshal Fire. Of course, that took place on December the 30th through January the 7th of 2021 to 2022, with the majority of that, of course, taking place on December the 30th and early on the 31st of 2021. Meantime, those strong winds, they lasted for about 6 to 12 hours. It was a mountain wave event, and a lot of you might remember that on New Year's Eve, about 24 hours after those winds really whipped up the Marshal Fire, we had a notable snow event that brought down about 3 to 6 inches of snow across the Denver area. Now, bringing in mind what we are seeing across California, at least 30,000 acres burnt between the Eaton and the Palisade fires. Those are the two largest fires that we've seen out there in Southern California, and at least 2,000 buildings destroyed. Obviously hard to get a good estimate on that at this point. The meteorological comparison is where those winds have lasted for so long here in Southern California. This is the big issue here, folks. The Marshal Fire day, we had those 90 to even 100+ mile-an-hour winds, but they lasted for only 6 to 12 hours, which certainly felt like an eternity. And again, it is not to mitigate what we saw in the Marshal Fire, but it is to serve as a comparison that what we're seeing in Southern California, these winds are relentless, on and off again, 80 to 100 mile-an-hour winds for about 3 to 4 days now here across the southern part of the state. Now, another question I've gotten about those fires here in Southern California is whether or not we're going to see that smoke from it here in Colorado. The answer is no. What's causing those winds and all that destruction there in Southern California? Offshore winds, which pushes the smoke out into the Pacific Ocean. So I suppose the one little bit of good news is here in Colorado and most of the West will not see the smoke from those fires, but the devastation certainly is unfortunately very, very pronounced there in Southern California. We're thinking about all those impacted by those fires.